So in our last video, we talked about offensive terms, and we're going to talk about some defensive terms. So the first defensive term we want to talk about is the pull. A pull is much like a kickoff. It's just one team throwing at the beginning of a point. The team that just scored will throw the disc down to the other team, and then that team that threw the disc or did the kickoff will be on defense. So that is known as a pull. The next defensive term and principle is very important. It's called a force. So we're going to erase all this. So if this handler has the disc, then my defender is going to set something called a force. And the force means the defender is going to preferentially guard one side of the handler, which will force them to throw it to a specific side of the field. So in this case, the disc going in this direction, this would be a force flick, because the handler will have to throw with a flick throw in order to throw. And so the goal is that this mark is preventing throws to this area and only allowing throws to come up to this side of the field. So this would be a force flick. And then very similarly, this is a force backhand, where they're allowing the other throw, allowing the handler to throw a backhand, but preventing the throws that are flick. Yes. So then the terms that we get from force are the force side, or we usually will call this the open side, and the break side. So open side is where you want them to throw it if you're on defense. The open side is where the defense is allowing you to throw, and the break side is where the defense is trying to stop you from throwing. So in our examples here, this is the open side of the field, this is the break side of the field. And here, just the opposite, it's open side and the break side. If the handler throws onto the side of the field that you don't want them to throw to, it's called a break throw, or breaking the mark. Yes, the mark. The mark is the person who is guarding the person who is holding the disc. So whatever person happens to be there that is guarding the person after they catch the disc, they become the mark, and their job is to set force. They will pick, usually will pick in advance which side we're going to force to, and they will stand on that side of the person or guard that side more strongly to help prevent throws toward the break side. And then what will typically happen is other defenders will preferentially guard the open side. So all the defenders that are away from the disc will guard on the open side, so that there's defense guarding all of the space. The stall count, the mark will need to set a stall count. So all they have to do is they say stall or stalling, and they say 1, 2, and they count up to 10 with 1 second in between each throw. If they get to the T of the 10, then it is turnover. And so if you're being guarded by someone and they're getting to stall 8 or 9, then you need to find a throw to make quickly. Up is a word you should yell if you're the mark. So if you're guarding the person with the disc and they actually throw the disc, we call up or yell up so that the rest of the defenders know that the disc is in the air and can look for it and defend it. And then the last thing we'll talk about here are the two main categories of defense: man defense, or also known as person defense. And so in person defense, each player is guarding one other specific player, and they're going to do what they can to prevent that person from getting open. And then the alternative is a zone defense, where the defensive players are in charge of stopping throws going to a specific area on the field, or preventing people from getting open only in a specific area of the field. And those are our defensive terms.